Meanwhile, talking about all the races, another very interesting Fox News national poll tonight that 3 in 4 voters describe themselves as dissatisfied with the way that the federal government is working. 26% of them said they're angry. Let's talk to our panel. Michael Barone of the Washington Examiner, also a Fox News contributor, author of Almanac of American Politics 2010, and here we are. Also here, Fox News political analyst Angela McGlowan, Democratic strategist Richard Socarides, former special assistant to President Clinton, GOP pollster Adam Geller, also a former pollster for New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, and Wall Street Journal columnist John Funn. And John, I told you we got to talk money. The stimulus, people angry, they're not sure if the stimulus was right. What will happen now, do you think, in terms of the economy? What can we expect in the markets, to the dollar, to our paychecks, to jobs?
Well, now that we pretty much know that there's not going to be a major increase in spending and probably not a major increase in taxation, I think the markets are going to rally. We've already seen a little bit of that in October in anticipation of that. In addition, I think we're going to see the Federal Reserve perhaps rethink some of its policies. And I think what we're going to see is a lot of temporary cooperation in Washington, because the Bush tax cuts, as you know, expire on December 31st. That has been a lot of the uncertainty that has kept people from hiring workers. And once that's resolved...
John, I need to interrupt you because Meg Whitman is about to speak, and we also want to give her a chance to address the crowd and to tell us what she has on her mind tonight.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, thank you very much, and thank you for being part of this cause to fix California. Tonight has not turned out quite as we had hoped. We've come up a little short, but certainly not for lack of hard work, determination, and a clear vision for making our state better. We overcame great obstacles to get this far, and I could not be any prouder of the race we have ran, and I gave it my all, and so did you. So I have just called Governor-elect Brown to wish him well. And it looks like the results are in, and it is time now for Californians to unite behind the common cause of turning around this state that we love. In many ways, thank you, I appreciate that. You know, in many ways, this election was much bigger than Governor Brown or me. It was about the struggles and dreams of millions of Californians. Our challenges are daunting, and they won't be solved by politics as usual. But we do need leaders in Sacramento to rise to the occasion and work together. It is my hope that a new era of bipartisan problem solving can begin tonight, because the people of California deserve no less. And tomorrow we are all Californians. You know, when I began this campaign, I asked Californians who believe in a new vision for our state to join me. And I have never stopped being amazed over these many months by the breadth and enthusiasm of your response. Your time and energy were critical to building this remarkable campaign.
And after spending really what was probably a record number in the state, $140 million on her campaign, acknowledging that this race looks to go to Jerry Brown, who will take his place back in the governor's mansion, the former governor and attorney general. Let me let you, John, finish your thought about the economy, because you were bringing some good news tonight about where things might go. I know the Federal Reserve looking, the QE2, and also the stock markets a little bit optimistic. Does tonight send a message that there will be less spending and there can be more optimism?
Well, there's certainly not going to be another stimulus package. I think the Bush tax cuts will be extended, I think, for everyone for the first 2 years at least, and then for the middle class permanently. And that will achieve a certain amount of stability. One of the reasons we've had the problems we've had the last 2.5 years, both under Bush and under Obama, is the uncertainty. People have not been able to plan for the future. I think this will lay down some markers, some guardrails in which people can plan their economic future.
Richard, I think it's fair to say that Democrats got spanked today at the polls, certainly in the House of Representatives.
Let's just say it was a big win for the Republicans.
And it coincides with a couple of polls that are out there. We could put these up. 54% of Americans disapprove, according to the Fox exit polls, of President Obama's performance, only to be outdone by the disapproval rating of Congress, which is 73%. The president's going to be holding a news conference at about 1 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow. He's going to be addressing some of these things. What should he say?
Well, I think what he really has to say is that I got the message. I realize that we need to do better. I need to do better, and I'm prepared to do better, and I'm prepared to work for the good of the country. You know, we have to put this election behind us. We're all Americans. And I think he has to try to create a kind of atmosphere where compromise, some kind of compromise is possible. I mean, obviously, he's not going to be for rolling back health care, and there are still major differences between the Republicans and the Democrats.
Is he capable of compromise, Angela? Because, I mean, this is a guy who never even met with the House Minority Leader one-on-one, John Boehner, and he only recently met with the Minority Leader in the United States Senate, Mitch McConnell, one-on-one, just recently.
Obama's very charismatic, and self-preservation is the first law of nature, and I believe he's going to take a page out of Clinton's playbook of the 104th Congress and move to the center if he wants to be reelected in 2012. He's going to have to compromise, and I think tomorrow you'll see a more humble Obama.
Before we go to a break, Adam, quickly, I want to ask about lessons learned, obviously for Democrats tonight, but what about for Republicans?
Well, I think the lessons for Republicans, first of all, comes from Democrats, which is don't take this as a mandate. Don't take this as the country suddenly fell in love with Republicans. This is an anti-Democrat, anti-Obama vote, but understand that voters are fickle. They're not in love with you. Now roll up your sleeves and get things done.
Not a major endorsement. Not a major endorsement for the Republicans. And I thought John Boehner did a great job tonight. He was very humble, very modest, beautiful. I thought he spoke beautifully.
He was emotional. We'll play some of that later. I want to mention we'll get to Michael Barone, too, after we take a quick break.
In just a minute. Lots to tell you about, not just what happened in the House, the Senate, the gubernatorial races, but our exit polls as well, quite revealing. 40% of Americans want to keep all of the Bush tax cuts. Will that happen now, given the events of today? We'll be talking about that coming up.